Good evening everyone, Best for the Goats here, and this week we're double dipping because I'm once again showing you a ROLAD deck. However, this time I decided to mix it with one of my all-time favourite decks, Runick. Yes, this is the most Joshua Schmitty deck, not on Joshua Schmidt's channel. I tried to make the Runick build on my Tuesday event, it didn't go so well, and I figured this might be an interesting idea because they're both highly grindy, and they both have a lot of draw power, which means even though there's no direct bridge between the two yet, wait for the Black Skull Dragon in the next set, there's still a good chance of using this deck to draw into both engines. As such, I'm playing a bit more of the ROLAD cards I did in the last build, and I'm maxing out on all the good Runick cards. Now, there's a lot of unintentional synergy between these two decks. I'm going to show you them all in this video. Also, as far as the next scripted video goes, it was finished, I was going to put it up this week, then I realised, one, I hadn't credited the guy who made the deck originally, and two, there's something that got very wrong in the video. There will be misinformation, so I decided to hold it for another week, get those problems sorted, and bring it out next time. Alright guys, thank you for that. Now let's get into the video. This is Runick ROLAD. So we still play the one-ofs BLS and DMOC. And this build, oh my god, DMOC is so powerful in this build. Now BLS, he comes up in battle, he can only be stopped by being targeted, he attacks twice, and he can double his point on the second attack, along with the removal effect, making him one of the better go-second cards in this deck, and one of our win cons. Nothing changed there, but DMOC. First of all, this card protects your back row whilst on the field, which I didn't mention last time, which means, along with Hugin, your opponent needs 3 outs to your fountain. In addition to this, DMOC will just revive a spell when it's summoned, which means if we have more than 3 Runick quick play cards in the graveyard, we can use 3 to draw 3 with our fountain, and then add the best one back to our hand for reuse during an opponent's turn, giving this deck even more of a grind ability than it already had. Along to this, it's a level 8 dark, and Hugin's level 2 light, and well, if you know you know what that makes. Which we'll talk about more in the extra deck section, but it's a great thing to play if you've got a handful of spells. We're still playing the 3 Black Chaos. This card is still one of our best ways of searching our trap card, which gives us access to the entire engine. But in addition to this, if you can shuffle back a ritual summon this with the ritual spell in the grave for its Tower's protection, this card sitting on the board where you're playing all your Runick cards and just dumpstering your opponent's deck can be a good win con, especially when removing 2 things each turn, making it hard if you want to keep resources on the board, to a point where you can just 1-4 turn, stop Runicking, and just swing for damage. And again, it's level 8 dark, so another way again to Chaos Angel using Hugin. Nothing else to say about this card, it's still a great searcher and a great on-field effect as well. Not so much synergy with the Runick card, but just an all-around good card. It's still Griffo. It gives us access to the Mind Shuffle card. It gives us access to both of our ritual monsters by itself. And in a death situation, it can protect you from damage as well. Again, this doesn't really synergize with the Runick half that much, but it does just give you a full combo of your opponents and no other ROLAD cards, just 4 Runick cards. And next, my new additions to the deck, we're playing 1 Celtic Mystic. Because why play 2 Fountain when you can play a 3rd one? Yeah, this isn't quite good. Fountain only gives you one draw of 3 cards, unless you can find ways to loop it, which is not that difficult. But having a graceful charity effect in your hand, they can let you dump 2 Runick cards to quickly turn on your Fountain with 1 Runick card. It's pretty powerful. It's not a bad normal summon for that. And ability to summon one of the rituals from my hand from Bricked is also pretty good. Honestly, I'm considering upping this to 2 copies next time. Because again, like, there's a good normal summon, it digs us deep to our deck to get both our engines. And if you combine it with the next card I'm going to show you, it's another way into Chaos Angel. Speaking of which, we're playing 2 copies of the Skull. This because now, you could just play one of this if you wanted, but I like knowing that if one of them ends up in my hand, I can still do the full Mind Shuffle combo. Also, I love this card. Let's just recycle 3 of any cards, as long as one of them is a ROLAD card. Meaning, yes, you can put extra Runicks back in your deck. You can put Hugins back in your deck if you got to get rid of it for like Chaos Angel or another summon. And it's 500 attack body. That's level 6, so it's not a bad beta. And again, with this, that's another way again to Chaos Angel. Just stall out. Now, I will say this card does suck to draw. Unless you find a way to Mind Shuffle it away, but you'd rather just search over Mind Shuffle and do it that way so you have an extra card in your hand. But Yeah, 2 copies of this card I think is necessary in this build. And for the last break, I'm playing 1 copy of the Ritual and 2 Mind Shuffles, because of the drawing in this deck, I didn't want to risk this card getting stuck in my hand and having no way to go for the combo. Now, I'm considering playing 2 of the Ritual, because there was one time where I forgot I was only playing 1. I tried to skull and just kind of brick myself, which is why I lost that game. So, but other than that, this ratio worked pretty well for me. This card being able to summon and add your cards is really powerful. And with the ability to cycle through the monsters not once per turn, you can go through both the revival of a Runick card and the pop with the BLS for using the Runick card for another pop if you have the fountain up. Making this card a way to both build up your hand and add 1 extra piece of removal to your already powerful Runick removal cards. Meaning that going second, it's not difficult to break your opponent's board even without any hand traps in this deck. Or the main deck, I should say. And for the Runick cards, this is fairly standard, so I'm going to go through this quickly. 2 Fountain. It shuffles Runick cards back into the deck, lets you draw the normal cards you shuffle back in, which is usually 3, and turns your Runick spells into hand traps, which means you've got ways to trip your opponent if you're going first, and ways to stop them from rebuilding if you're going second, break their board, but can't attack because of the Runick downside. So then we have 3 Tip for the Search. Usually I use this card to get the Fountain, but if I already have a Fountain, I usually get either Flashing Fire or Freezing Curse to destroy and negate. This card is also one of the cards I like to add back with Demock, because essentially means Demock can get you any Runick card in your opponent's turn. Also, one thing I want to talk about with these cards is, because they're quick plays and we use your opponent's turn with the Fountain, you can actually build up a pretty impressive board and hand while playing through Draw and Lockbird. Because you can just do all the good Runick spell effects during your opponent's draw step or standby phase before they can draw you. For example, I can go this, get a piece of removal, remove one of their things. And then Fountain back to draw 2 or 3 cards, bring one to my graveyard, and my opponent can't do anything about it with their draw. And hey, if they want to waste an Ash on plumbing or a Runick card, be my guest, I'll just do it again next turn. Speaking of Runick cards, we also play 3 Flashing Fire, 3 Freezing Curse, and 3 Destruction for our removal package. Destruction's pretty good right now with the Cool Tomb Field spell, the Doom Z continuous spells and traps. It's good at popping opposing Mind Shuffles, which I find is really good for that because Ghost Ogre can't hit the first Mind Shuffle if they use it right when they activate it. This can. It's also good against more roguish options. I use this to beat a Blue Eyes deck at locals, for example, by popping their True Lights. It's good at popping other decks that play trap cards. For example, there's Labyrinth played at my locals. This is pretty good against if they set their cards where I have the Fountain up. I can just pop it before they can use it. And there's also one of the better ones to summon off of because you don't always need a back row pop like you need monster removal. Also, with this card, we have bash 4 cards, which is one of the easiest ways to get the Runick mill condition. But in my opinion, the start of the Runick lineup was Slumber, which lets us protect our Runick card from the first time we've destroyed. So your opponent not only needs 1, but 2 ways to destroy our ROLAD rituals if you got this card. This also protects Hugin, making it both a wall to jump an opponent's attack, and also possibly a way to protect our field spell after tanking the attack. And finally we have 1 Spiting Storm and 1 Dispelling, which should be a droplet, but I haven't got one. So yeah, droplet mills more cards. That being said, I kind of like this because it doesn't give my opponent a draw like droplet does. So I had 7 spots to fill after that. And I chose to play some of the other best spells in the game. For example, we're playing 3 Visions and an MST. Visions is Lower Darkness with quick play spells, and you just saw all the quick play spells I'm playing in this deck. So this card essentially gives us a +1. This card lets us dig by our deck every single turn with Demock if you don't want to bring back a Runick spell. MST, it's good for the same reason that Destruction's good. It pops continuous traps like opposing Mind Shuffles, the Doom Z traps. It takes care of field spells like the Cool Tomb field spell. It's just really good. And again, searchable with this, which you can recur it a lot with the Demock in the grind game. And then I played Terraforming for a 4th copy of the Fountain. But more importantly, I also played 3 Fallen and the Virtuous for more removal and recursion. You know what this card does, it pops 1 card in the field, you can cycle through 2 loopers and 1 of the synchro to get all 3 and remove a bunch of things from your opponent. All the while you're using the Runick card to control their field once their big thing's been removed. Oh, what I want to say with this card as well, this card along with MST and Destruction are essential to play against anti-spell Fragrance. If that thing resolves in the field, you're going to be very lucky if you don't just die immediately. That's our main deck. Let's take a look at the extra. So we have 2 Hugin, 1 Sleipnir, 1 Jerry, 1 Freki, and 1 Moonin for the Runick cards. This is obvious, it searches out the field spell, it can protect the field spell, and it's level 2 light for Chaos Angel. Enough said. This card is another rest little knight during the opponent's battle phase, which means it can which means that if your opponent does play through your Runick disruptions and your Chaos disruptions, you have one last thing for them to get through when they get to their battle phase. Now, I thought this worked with the Mind Shuffle, but turns out no, the card's got to hit your hand when you bounce it back, so this card doesn't work for that, unfortunately. Now, the rest of these are mostly for protection and recursion. We got, for example, Moonin here. Let me just confirm this. I'm getting these right. This card negates an effect that can tag one of your Runick cards. This one lets you add back the quick play spells from your grave to your hand, and this one lets you add back the fountain when it's destroyed. Sorry, when you summon, not when it's destroyed. When it's destroyed, you can draw a card. No, not draw. No, you can tag a card and destroy it. I'm sorry, I didn't play these last night. So yeah, you've got ways to recur the fountain, ways to get the fountain, ways to protect the fountain, and ways to get into Chaos Angel there. The rest is kind of standard. We play Dynamondo to bring back our rituals and remove threats. We play IP and SP to, again, remove both threats from the field and the graveyard and protect the card that it summons. One tech I did play in this deck was Celine. I didn't make her yesterday, but with the amount of spells you put in your grave, her ability to get back your spellcasters is really good if you've already ritual summoned the Dark Magician or you've summoned the Black Chaos. For the rest of the extra deck, it's the 3 cards for Fallen the Virtuous. These cards let you set more copies in the deck. This gives you an extra removal. 1 Typhon to do with big things, or just bounce opposing creatures to get more damage. And of course, Change All. You can move this with both elements, making it very hard to remove as it comes to a battle or monster effects. So you probably might have to waste Fallen the Virtuous on this, for example. And it banishes something on summon, which means you can remove things we can't beat over, like the Doom's EXDs, for example. And it's just a great card. Moving on to the side deck, we have 5 Charmies to draw cards going second, because even though the Runick spells aren't bad at breaking fields, you might need more than 6 cards to do so against some of the higher ceiling decks. Speaking of which, we have 2 draws, because we want to draw a lot of cards, but we don't want our opponents to draw a lot of cards. Now you gotta be careful when you use this, because sometimes it can cut you off of your own field spell if you're playing a lot of Runick cards during your opponent's turn. So my advice would be try to get 3 Runick cards on your opponent's turn before you draw, so you can get your own hand filled up for your own turn. Also for going first, we play Talented Callby for anti-hand trap synergies. 3 Droplet, we draw so many cards that using this on the entire opponent's board isn't very difficult, especially if you get both Celtic Mystic and a Fountain off. Not to mention we can use cards in our field like Celtic Mystic if we don't extract them off. I mean, this card can very easily cut the opponent's entire field points in half and negate all their effects for an easy go second win. Speaking of go second cards, we finish off with 2 Storm and a Harpies. So yeah, this deck was really fun today, and it'll get even better when the next set comes out and gives us the Black Skull Dragon that can get us access to ROLAD cards by discarding quick plays. So yeah, some big synergies in this deck, like I said, is this card with the Runick cards. It protects Fountain and all your back row if you have to set them, and it can recur extra Runick spells or Fallen the Virtuous and Rain Typhoon Visions when it's summoned, which you can do once per turn by shuffling it around with the Mind Shuffle. So yeah, this card is a lot more important in this build than it was in the Mitsurugi build. This card is still one of our best win cons on the turn when we can attack, and But by the time we get to that point, we've probably grinded them out so much with the Mitsurugis and Roland cards. It's very likely they'll have just one monster you can hit, and then hit again with double damage for the win. And this card, oh my god, I love this card so much. A graceful charity that can also get us into Chaos Angel, also in one of these from our hand if they get bricked in there. Like I said, I will almost definitely be upping this to 2 copies in my next build of this deck. It's so good. Yeah, and that's most what I'm going to say about this build of the deck. It's definitely my favourite build I've tried so far. I think it's the best build you can play if you aren't willing to spend money on either the branded package or the Dark Magician Bridge. Because even though it's not guaranteed to see both engines, with the amount of card draw you'll see, you most likely will, especially with the addition of the extra Skull and the extra Guardian and the Celtic Mystic. So yeah, thank you all for watching this one. I'll be fixing the errors in my GOAT guide and hopefully have it out very soon for you all. And because I know you're watching, Finja, yes, I will do Pure Invoked once I get the cards. Please stop bugging me about it. Just kidding, man. I appreciate the engagement. Alright, see you guys all in the next one.